Welcome to Calder Park Raceway in Melbourne for round one of the 2011 Slamfest Series. It's all about 3,000 horsepower Doorslammers, the fastest accelerating sedans on earth. And when it comes to the horsepower versus traction, it's all about G-forces. Ben, you're sitting on the start line, the lights flash, you mash the pedal. What happens from there? What do you feel?
It feels like a 3-year-old kid getting your butt kicked from your father when you're sitting on the couch and you didn't know that he knew that you've done wrong, and you're just sitting there and all of a sudden you take off. The feeling is like I've driven the turbo cars, they're as smooth as anything. They're like leaving the lights in a Commodore, holding the brake a little bit and nailing it. In the Doorslammer, I tell you now, when you let the clutch, if you can see where you're going for the first 2 seconds, you're going pretty good.
It basically feels like there's a wind tunnel pushing you straight back into the seat.
Words can't really describe it. I think you just get slammed back in the seat and you're on, you're on for the ride.
The takeoff's pretty, you get thrown back in the seat, but the deceleration when you pull the parachute is awesome. That's a lot bigger feeling because you're probably doing, say in a quarter mile, you're doing 250 mile an hour, and in an instant you wipe off, like probably 180 mile an hour. So up the other end, it's probably a bigger G-force. People, always think, the start's big, but to me, I found it the opposite way.
It was like sitting in your car at the lights, and a 40-ton semi-trailer just whacks straight up the back of you.
You get slammed into the seat, and the smile comes on the dial. That's all I can say.
The only thing I can tell you is you'd have to jump in and experience it. It's not normal.
I look at it this way. It's eyeballs in, eyeballs out. When you hit that throttle, it throws your eyes in the back of your head, and then when you pull those chutes, it's trying to throw your eyes out of your head. So it's very spectacular.
The drivers love the acceleration, but what about the crowd? What gets them out here to the drag racing?
Top door slams, top fuel, funny car. All the Group 1 categories are pretty good, pro stuff.
Just the noise, the awesome sound that the cars make, the speed that they run at. It's just great fun to come and watch.
Like it all, mate. Like it all. Just seeing the cars go down the track, mate. Bit of speed, bit of noise. It's good stuff.
I like seeing the cars race.
The speed and just the excitement.
Oh, just the speed, the noise, the volume.
The smell, the smoke.
Everything.
All together.
The funness.
And the kids are hooked.
It's good, it's fast. Love the smoke and burnouts.
Oh, it's just fantastic to watch, that's all.
What's not to like about the top door slammers, mate? The noise, the speed, everything.
Fast cars, nice cars. Beautiful.
Awesome day, Calder.
Yep, awesome day. It's been a great day here. Fast, fun, and loud. Yeah, the V8s are nice.
It's a great competition to be at. So we've got a good variety of cars, the Brays, Victor BRIJESKI, and the whole team running. So it's really good.
There's, what can you say, the torque, bit of smell of burning rubber. You can't beat it. So it's nice that they're back in Melbourne and back at Calder Park. It's about time anyway. It's been a long time. So.
Just cars are amazing. They just fly down and just saying good day to everyone, especially Ben Bray and Victor.
Top Doorslammers, yeah!
We kick off the action with the racing elimination round. It is the Mustang of Reese Milanovic from Sydney up against Peter Lovering in the 55 Chevrolet. These Doorslammers all came out and did runs yesterday to qualify. That worked out the seeding. They get to race in this elimination round. The fastest four winners go into the semi-finals. Have a look at that. Dene BRIJESKI on top, 4:06 with a fantastic pass, just ahead of Scotty McLean. Our top 10 runs down through KAPIRIS, Abel, Blake, Fabietti, Milanovic, Mifsud, Gray, Lovering. Plenty more to come. But with me, Rusty Gregory, these Doorslammers on Calder Park Raceway is just absolutely brilliant stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, Rob. This car looking fantastic out there in the Calder Park sun. Reese, not a driver with a lot of experience, but at the same time, he's racing a guy in Peter Lovering that's been out of the car for quite a long period of time.
Yeah, almost 3 years for Peter Lovering since he sold that car to Sean Mifsud, the guy that owns the Wild Willies. Sean decided, I own 2 cars, I'd like to see them both running in the Slamfest event. So, hey, Peter, would you like to come and drive your old car?
It's always fantastic when you've got friends like that, isn't it?
Milanovic, his second competition event. He's got the lane choice, qualified higher. Oh, what a squeaker. A good reaction time has just got Milanovic across the line with a win on a hole shot. But how out of shape was Lovering?
Well, Peter Lovering, you'll see here how close he gets to the wall. Oh, there's a coat of paint in that. I tell you what, very, very close. He's lucky to keep that thing shiny side up, I think.
Oh, it gave the cameraman a bit of a fright too, I think. So Milanovic's whole shot win for the first points of the day. Here's Maurice FABIETTI and the Holden Trade Club Monaro and the wild man, Frank Mamone.
Whoa! Hang on to it, Frankie.
Oh, almost got the wall in the opposite lane. Now, Maurice FABIETTI normally likes to burn out second. Imagine if he had.
He's probably glad that he didn't this time.
Have a look at the replay from inside the 67 Chevy Nova. As he's got off the throttle, one tyre stopped spinning before the other, grabbed traction and just driven that car across the line.
Yeah, it's amazing the amount of times that you see this happen in drag racing. You can see gets off the throttle, the wheel on the left-hand side still spinning, the wheel on the right grips and turns that car very hard. He did very well to keep that thing off the wall.
I just can't understand. Look how casually he says, I'll just drive it back over in my lane, everything's fine.
You know, that's what you do, isn't it? That's what this Doorslammer racing is all about, the wild men of drag racing.
I'd love to see a heart rate monitor on that one. Well, Maurice FABIETTI, he doesn't know anything about that. It happened behind him. He's concentrating on his race with the Holden Trade Club Monaro. Oh, and a good one too, 4.119. You'd have to think that is going to be good for the semi-final. Just winning is not good enough. You've got to be one of the quickest four winners.
Absolutely. You'll see here Frank Mamone, that car up on the two-step while he was in stage and just smoked the tyres out of the hole, moving around a bunch. By the time he crosses the finish line, Maurice FABIETTI is driven off into the distance.
Frank might have been loose, but he's enjoying his introduction to Doorslammer racing, as is another one of our rookies, Phil Glendenning. Well, Phil, after a little while in Supercharged Outlaws with your Falcon, you've stepped into Doorslammer for the Slamfest. This is your second one. You having a good time yet?
Oh, absolutely, Rob. It's had a great time, you know. We're still reasonably new at this game and we're learning a lot, which is very important to us. So, yeah, and racing with all these guys too, legends, you know, around the Doorslammer industry. It's just great racing with them. So we're having a great time.
Well, I see your Ford pitted in here in the Holden pits of Maurice FABIETTI. Does that get a bit of comment?
Well, put it this way, without Maurice, we probably wouldn't be able to be here. Like, as I said, we're reasonably new in this game, and Maurice has been very helpful. He's helping us with our tunes and getting a handle on this car, so it's been good, and we appreciate Maurice's help greatly, so it's very good.
Bit of a problem yesterday with a slick?
Well, what we've done, we've tried to put some more power into the car. We probably overpowered the track, and we've hopefully after our next run with Mark Abel, we're hoping to. We've taken some clutch out and hoping to get a better run this time. So, yeah.
Well, Glendenning will have to bring his A game to run against this guy, Matty Abel from Darwin, winner of the first Slamfest event way back at Mildura last year.
Well, Matt Abel, he stepped out from underneath the Bray Racing umbrella and he stepped into this 57 Chev, virtually a brand new car from the United States of America. He's put his combination into it and he has really been on top of that thing, but he has been fighting some pretty serious tyre shake issues over the past few months.
Yeah, and this 8th mile racing, it's all about trying to get it down, the horsepower that is, down to the track very, very early. Now, Glendenning, he's got a bit of a challenge. He's got to come up with a combination that will suit this very hot racetrack. The track temperature is running at over 124 degrees Fahrenheit. So that always does provide a big challenge to the crew chiefs, Rusty.
Well, we're about to go green. Can Glendenning take down Matthew Abel, the winner of the last round?
Abel's too good, and a 4.16 puts him, the second of the winners so far, so he's looking to have a really good shot at making the semi-final here in Slamfest. Wow, well, Narelle roughly comes out front of the burnout area. That tells us that Peter KAPIRIS is on his way with that new Dodge Saratoga.
It's always a good sign when Peter KAPIRIS is on the way. This fantastic looking car, the newest incarnation of the Batmobile for Peter KAPIRIS. He'll be racing Tony De Felice by the look of it.
Well, De Felice with the CAMARO, high dollar outfit. The car put together by Murray Anderson, crew chief by Murray Anderson, so there's no lack of talent in that area. And De Felice got all the horsepower in the world. Once again, it just comes down to trying to come up with a clutch and RPM combination to get it down this 8th mile.
Absolutely. Well, Murray has been trying all sorts of different ideas in this car. He's using it as a bit of a test bed for his business. Of course, Murray Anderson, one of the most well-renowned chassis builders in the industry. And Tony De Felice, well, when you're driving that car, you know you're alive. That car's got horsepower. You know if you can get it from point A to point B, it's going to be quick. Can he get around Peter KAPIRIS? That is the question.
Well, KAPIRIS, of course, running for KAPIRIS Brothers Racing at home. Hasn't been able to run at home in Melbourne for about 10 years until November of this year. Picked up the win then. He's got a lot of corporate guests and family at the track this weekend. He'd love the double, but Tony De Felice, the only other Victorian car in the field, he is the man that is going to be trying to stop KAPIRIS's winning run. See Mark Brew there from Proforce, the crew chief for KAPIRIS. Some good results since he came on board. RPMs build.
And Peter KAPIRIS crosses the line. 4:08, fantastic run. De Felice, he red lit, so KAPIRIS had the win anyway, but a 4:08, that is the quickest run we've seen in this first round. This is tough on a very hot track from Peter KAPIRIS.
Great win for KAPIRIS, but another guy looking to try and make the semi-final will be Peter Blake. Peter, so far a pretty good meeting for the Sainty engine car of yours.
Yeah, we're pretty wrapped. Last time out here we had all sorts of troubles, broken gearbox, couldn't get any traction, you know, we just had the worst time ever. We've come out here this time, we've qualified in 5th, I think, and we've done an all right run. It handled a bit funny, so we've got some suspension issues, but we're going to get there.
There's a lot of guys here with a fair bit more money and a fair bit more horsepower than you, but as you say, you qualified 5th, you've got to be really happy.
Yeah, I think the track's a bit of a tricky one. We were lucky, we sort of, the plan was to slide it down the track first time, nice and slow. We got that done. We hopped it up a little bit for the second run, and we just managed to hang on to it. It got loose, it got skatey, it hit bumps, it did this, it did that, and we came out on top, so we're happy.
Living on the edge, that's what Doorslammer racing at Slamfest is about. You heard him there. They felt that they were close to that edge on the last run, but here he's got lane choice. He's up against a rookie, Dale Clothier from South Australia, and you'd have to think Blake would be feeling a little bit comfortable here.
Well, given the run that he had, you would think he would be feeling comfortable, but one sign of concern would be all that fuel spraying up over the windscreen there. I wouldn't be feeling too comfortable if that was me.
Oh, and that and the fact that it's probably about 48 degrees centigrade inside the cabin of these cars. Very hot day here at Calder Park Raceway. Has provided the crew chiefs and the drivers a number of challenges. Here's Dale Clothier in this FE Holden, and has been sorting out this car, been getting quicker and quicker, but you'd have to say that you'd probably still put it in the potential basket at the moment. Hasn't really got into that low 4-second zone yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Underdog, I think, is the word we're looking for, but it is a short wheelbase compared to the rest of the Doorslammers. He's going to have to put in a great run here to get around Blake.
Well, all the way for Peter Blake, a 4:25. I'm doing the maths, so I think that would be 4th quickest at the moment. Just good enough at this point for the semi, but there's plenty of racing to come. Dale Clothier very late on the lights then.
Yeah, very late. And Peter Blake, that was not an easy run by any stretch of the imagination. He had to drive that car, got very close to the centre line, but 4:25, that puts him 4th quickest so far.
Well, here we see Scotty McLean, all the way from Darwin in the Northern Territory. A very proud Indigenous Australian that has just taken to drag racing like a duck to water.
Absolutely, he's got a big task ahead of him here though. The legend, Ben Bray, he has been around for a long time despite his young age. He's been around Doorslammer racing his entire life. Of course, following in the footsteps of his dad, Victor Bray. He's done very well in his own right, but Scott McLean, he has really been creeping up on this car.
Well, yeah, Scott's qualified extremely well in the number 2 position. Benny Bray for Sid Chrome, of course. He won his first Doorslammer event at 17 years of age. But Scotty, you've got to say, he's got a lot of experience on regional tracks, 8th mile tracks, and with these hot, greasy conditions here at Calder Park Raceway, may have the advantage over Ben Bray.
He very well could. It is a very hot track. That's the thing that you've got to remember. Temperature is the enemy of these cars.
Well, McLean was off the line first with a great 0.14 reaction time, but then he had a problem. Benny Bray was quick through the middle, off it a little early, I think. Got the win, but not quick enough to go to the semi-final. You'd said the in-car, Scotty wasn't on the throttle too long at all, Rusty.
No, not at all. Shook the tyres very hard, got off it, and Ben Bray through. Well, is he through? That's the question. He's not in the top 4 so far.
Well, Victor Bray, here's Ben's dad in the Sid Chrome 57 Chevrolet. Guy 6 times Australian Doorslammer champion, and he is out here trying to become one of the semi-finalists. To do that, he has to win the race, and at the moment he has to run quicker than, I think, a 4:25.
It's not an easy ask, and he's up against, well, that man there, the quickest route supercharged car in the country. That is Sean Mifsud, the Wild Willies, and a car that you could say it's probably going to be loaded for bear off the start line, which might work in Victor's favour.
Yeah, Mifsud with that route-style supercharger. The supercharger is just a big air pump. Most of the cars run a PSI screw type. The Roots what started work by GM on their diesels, but they're quick.
Absolutely quick out of the line. Mifsud goes across the line first. What's the time? 4:11. He's in the top 4. Wow.
This is just getting so tough. 4:11. That makes him the second quickest winner at the moment. Peter Blake can no longer make the semi-final. The man under the gun would be Matty Abel with a 4:16.
Yeah, he's in the nervous spot at the moment. Victor Bray, well, he just fell away from the start, and that was all she wrote. Dene BRIJESKI up now, the #1 qualifier on a bye run.
He might be an automatic winner, but he's got to run quicker than 4:16 to make the semi. He's feeling confident, though. Well, Dene, #1 qualifier, but not only that, that 4:06 was good, but the speed, 192 mile an hour. What's going on? It's honking.
Well, Rob, that's the way I roll, mate. That's the way I roll, champ.
You've done this setup totally different for the 8th mile, haven't you?
Absolutely. The car, I couldn't run the car down a quarter mile. I've got to shut it off at probably around about 660 feet because it doesn't want to go any further.
Well, 4:06 in qualifying, 192 mile an hour. Sky's the limit. Where can you go?
I reckon for this next run, I reckon I'm going to run a 396, probably 395 at 195 mile an hour.
Big target for Dene.
He's confident.
Let's see what he comes up with. Oh, very fast, 4:07. He goes to the semi, and that will knock out Matt Abel.
Absolutely, just a hint of tyre shake at the start of the run, but he legged it on through for the quickest time so far.
He's working that wheel extremely hard inside that car. What a drive from Dene BRIJESKI. He's the quickest of our semi-finalists. It'll be BRIJESKI, Kapiris, Misford, Fabietti. They go through. Abel, Blake, Bray and Milanovic not quite quick enough. Well, Dene, you're #1 qualifier. Now you're the quickest of the winners in the first round. Goes through the semi-final. Still got lane choice. Are you still chasing that 3-second pass, or is the win light more important now?
No, I'm still chasing that 3-second pass. Even if I lose, I want to run 3 seconds. I want to have the track record and the mile an hour record here at this track. It's all about fun.
Peter, really tough first round, but you've got through, you're into the semi, and the all-important thing, you got lane choice.
Oh, very important, mate, to have lane choice. The left lane is a lot better than the right lane, so that pass here was really hard because you not only got to win, but you got to make sure you go fast to get into the semi, so no, it was good.
You get the win light, you're still a little bit nervous, waiting to see all the other times come up.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah, usually when you win, that's it. But yeah, here's a bit different the way we run, and you sort of got to hope, that you're up in the top 4, so, and plus in the top 2, so you got lane choice. So yeah.
Sean, so close in that first round. You with a 4.117 and Peter KAPIRIS with a 4.119. I mean, we're going to have some big semi-final matchups by the look of it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, at the moment, unfortunately, it's a bit of a one-lane racetrack. The left lane's working a bit better than the right. We had 2 shots of the right yesterday. Didn't work out for us. We had 1 shot of the left today. It would have held a lot more power than we went down there with, so we sort of shot ourselves in the foot. We haven't got lane choice in the next round, so we're probably back in the right. We'll see how we go.
Maurice, you get a win, you run a 4.119, you think, that's it, I'm in the semi-final. Did you think it was going to be that tight that you're the 4th semi-finalist?
Never, I thought a 4.11 in the heat of the day, we're doing pretty good, guaranteed in the final. But when you come around and told us it was we're number 4 quickest win, I thought, Jesus, the field must be pretty tight.
Well, Matty, you got the win. You were quick enough to be in the semi-final until that very last run at Dene's. How did that feel, standing there, waiting, watching, hoping?
Oh, what do you do, mate? At the end of the day, Deno's in our team, or part of our team, so... and he's the last car up. The last thing I wanted was for him to not run well. Realistically, at the end of the day, we just made some changes to try and make the car faster. It's a difficult scenario because we don't get to run in this setup very often. So we just went a little bit too far one way. We're going to go out again and have a test run. We're getting ready to go. I'm in the 5th position, which, if someone doesn't make it, I get to run, which is unique in this setup. So we're, looking forward to the chance if someone doesn't make it, we can still have a go. We'll be ready. We're going to hot it right up. I mean, this car will run 3.8 or 3.9 if we can get it hooked up.
Don't go away. After the break, we've got some great Pro FX action and, of course, Doorslammer semi-finals. Welcome back to Melbourne's Calder Park Raceway for the True Blue Australia Day weekend drag race. And of course, it's not just all Slamfest Doorslammers here this weekend. We've got all sorts of sedans, altereds, dragsters, bikes. For one class that's really gained a lot of interest, Pro FX. Well, Tony, what exactly is Pro FX?
Well, Rob, basically it's late model sedans with 6-cylinder turbocharged engine, basically the pinnacle of the turbo world in Australia.
And 6s only, or the rotors as well?
Oh, actually let's not forget the rotors. The Mazda boys are definitely a big part of the picture here.
And what sort of performance are we looking at?
Well, today we would expect most of the guys to go deep into the 6-second zone at speeds over 200 mile an hour, so the cars have really got the performance to back up the looks as well.
So your Toyota Orion, talk us through that. What's in that car?
Basically, we've got a 6-cylinder turbocharged Toyota super engine. It's 3.2 litres, which is about 190 cubic inches in the old scale, 5-speed gearbox, and essentially it's a mini door slammer.
And what sort of horsepower will this produce?
The horsepower is dependent exactly the same as the door slammers on how much boost you put in the motor. Today we're probably pushing out about 1700 horsepower, where someone like probably Joe's well into 2000s, so really got a massive amount of power on tap.
But compared to a door slammer, I guess these would be a hell of a lot lighter.
Yeah, look, the cars weigh around 2,400 pounds, so we're a few hundred pounds lighter than the door slammers, and having those extra gears to pull make it exciting going down the track as well. The 5-speed gearbox really gets your attention every time you plug a gear.
Well, Pro FX really are the kings of turbocharging, Rusty.
Absolutely, and we've got 2 of the long-time proponents of rotary racing down on the track now, Chris Dalton and George Rahayem, over in that fantastic-looking Mazda 6.
Well, the pack performance car, it has really been setting the performance standards for rotaries in the world, hasn't it?
Absolutely. This car in testing has gone as quick as 650s. He's been running consistently in the 660 zone at up around 215 miles per hour. This car is a race car by no stretch of the imagination. Is he going to be a pushover for Chris Dalton?
Been very interesting all the way through testing for these guys. Now they're running for points. It's a round-robin system. They'll all come out for each of the rounds. Oh, the totally different engine note, the way they pop and bang on the start line.
Absolutely, a fairly easy win there for Rahayem. Goes through, no time recorded though.
Oh, he'll be disappointed in that because that was clearly a strong 6-second pass, wasn't it?
Absolutely, just a hint of tyre shake about 60 feet out off the line. But he crossed the line first quite clearly there, obviously. Now we move on to Zoran Gajic in the Gas Motorsports BMW.
And I guess an important point here, the guys are running over the full quarter-mile distance, unlike the Slamfest, which keep it consistent at the 8th mile for all of their regional races. These guys, well, he's got a buy run. He doesn't have to worry about reaction time. Wound it right up on boost.
Absolutely, got his first 6-second pass not that long ago in this car. He's gone 6.99 with a 5 once more. Gajic, winner on that run, obviously being on a buy run, but the times are still important.
Well, 321 kilometres an hour, over 200 mile an hour in the old measure. And they still keep coming at us. Fantastic quality of cars too.
Absolutely. Anthony Rodriguez there in the Maztec Performance Cougar. Not a car that we see a lot of here in Australia. He's up against Joe Signorelli in the Gas Motorsport Salega. Love this car.
And Joe really has been one of the leading lights in this style of racing as well. Has been match racing all around the country. Whenever there's a Pro FX event, he brings the Super out for Gas Motorsport and has really been one of the stalwarts of this relatively new category.
Oh, big red light there for Joe Signorelli. Just tried to get it up onto the two-step there to hold it in stage and unfortunately crept the beams. Rodriguez goes through for the winner, 7.48 with a .251 reaction time. They want to sharpen up on that tree just a little bit.
Well, yeah, and, as you say, we see there that the boost was just too much for the brakes, dragged it through the line and no time recorded. So first session, Zoran Gajic, the quickest of the lot, 6.88. Rodriguez, Dalton, Rahayem, Signorelli, a couple of no NTRs there, but I think they were both quick passes. It's an indisputable fact that motorsport is a really expensive game. But when you talk Slamfest door slammer type drag racing, the dollars just keep stacking up. Well, one group of racers has found out a way to try and cut that back a bit. So Frank, this is a hell of a B double. Fits 6 door slammers in it if you need to. How does this all come about?
Yeah, well, as you probably know, Rob, I mean, drag racing is a pretty expensive sport that we're in, and with the service that we provide with 5-Star Transport, what we do is we've got a couple of boys, a couple of mate of ours that we got together, and we decided that, you know, to sort of cut our costs in getting to drag racing strips that we go to, is we all sort of throw in a bit together, cut our costs down, and we can service the racing for the people that we try to get around with anyway, and it's holds six race vehicles or 6 drag cars anyway comfortably in there. They can all put their tools in, the fuel and all that sort of stuff, and we just come out and have a bit of fun with all of us out here, you know.
Well, cutting down on fuel costs is one aspect for it. For 2 Darwin-based races, it makes a huge cost saving. Scott, I understand that this alliance with Frank and the boys means you don't have to travel as much with the car.
No, well, that's right. As you know, it's not cheap to move around the country, and Frank's given Matt and myself the opportunity to jump on board with him and Dene, and yeah, it's just a really good way to be cost effective to turn up to these events.
So what, you base the car at his workshop in Sydney?
Currently it's in Sydney, yeah. We try and do the maintenance after each round, and if it requires a little bit more, then we come down between meetings to do it. But yeah, it is based in Sydney at the moment, and very grateful for that opportunity. So
what that allows you to do, jump on a plane, fly into Calder and meet your car when it gets here?
Pretty much, yeah. We leave in with that, load it up and unload it. So yeah, no, it's good. It makes life a lot easier, especially coming from where we got to come from. So We're not 10 minutes down the road, as you'd be aware, and it just makes it very, very much convenient.
Matt, I can remember you used to tow all over the country out of Darwin with your supercharged Capri. This new arrangement must make a huge difference for you.
It does, you know. What I tended to do, I did one season where I pretty much followed the circuit, but it was just so expensive to tow from Darwin. Although we left the car wherever we finished racing, or we drove it to the next place and then flew home to work, the cost of diesel was just outrageous, you know, to travel around this country. It's a long way. This deal I've got going now makes a hell of a lot of difference for me. We just base the car in Sydney, and I'm able just to fly into the track. It gets delivered pretty much. We just unload it, service it before it goes home after racing, and then head on to the next event. You know, if we weren't doing this, I wouldn't be following this circuit.
Well, Deno, saving money's one thing, but I get the impression you just like coming and racing with these guys.
It's not so much about money, it's about having fun. A great bunch of boys, you know what I mean? But it is saving money as well, you know what I mean? Like, we all share a tent, we share the truck, we share everything, and well, we virtually don't sleep together, but we party together and just have a great time.
How much cooperation is there? Do you help each other out? Do you go as far as sharing info?
No info is shared, just spare parts and tools, that's about it.
And when you race each other, a bit of bragging rights, a bit of gigging back in the pits later?
Oh, a bit of laughing, yeah. Like, if you snooze, you lose, you know, and we have a bit of fun.
Semi-final time in Slamfest at Calder Park's True Blue Australia Day weekend event, and Peter KAPIRIS with lane choice. Strong burnout in that left-hand lane. Sean Mifsud, he's trying to lay down some hot, sticky tracks.
Absolutely. You heard Sean say earlier on that his preference was for the left lane. They tried to make 2 runs earlier in the weekend over in the right lane. They didn't have a whole lot of success. Peter KAPIRIS, he's been around the game a long, long time. He knows that if he can get an advantage in any way, shape or form, he's going to take it. So he's taken that left-hand lane, the preferred one at this stage.
Yeah, you'd have to think, though, the right-hand lane started to come good, because we have to remember that Fabietti ran a 4.11 over there in the elimination round. Been a lot of other cars down that now. Plenty more rubber on the start line. I think we're going to have a race. This will be close.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we come back to that Root supercharger up against the PSI over on KAPIRIS's car. It basically means that that car of Mifsud is going to get off the line a lot quicker, but Peter KAPIRIS be looking for him to hunt him down on the top end.
Yeah, the superchargers make their boost in a different way, in that the Root style makes it earlier, and being a Root style supercharger, the car's allowed to be a little bit lighter. Normally quicker in the 8th mile, but you've got to say, Peter KAPIRIS has been on top of his tune-up, on top of his game, and a great driver. That was a great drag race. Have a look at that. A 4.14 for KAPIRIS overcomes a whole shot and a 4.29 from Sean Mifsud. Good semi-final.
Fantastic race. That is what slammer racing is all about, ladies and gentlemen. Watch this off the start line. You see, gets a little bit out of the groove there for Sean Mifsud. Basically ran the whole race down the right-hand side. Probably cost him a couple of hundredths of a second in ET, and that was enough to let Peter KAPIRIS slip by in the left lane.
Once again, those PSI superchargers make their power a little bit later. Oh, strong, long burnout for Dene, BRIJESKI. Here's Fabietti in the Holden Trade Club Monaro, a little bit shorter, trying to maybe keep the RPMs down and keep the tyre track a little bit wider.
And try and keep the engines a little bit cooler, I would suggest. There's a lot of temperature out there. Of course, this is in the middle of the day, so these cars are very, very warm. And I'd suggest that Maurice doesn't want to be in there for any longer than he has to be.
Yeah, it's mid-30s in Melbourne this weekend, and the track temperature has been an issue. But Fabietti, as we were just saying, has data from that other round where he ran 4.1. I think if he can repeat that sort of performance, it is going to be up to Dene BRIJESKI to be right on his game. And we heard Dene, he wants to run a 3-second pass. He's willing to throw everything at it and risk the win for the sake of the track record.
And I dare say that Maurice Fabietti's idea is he wants to get the win. He wants to go through to the final. He wants to get those points. Dene BRIJESKI is willing to throw everything at it for that 3-second pass. Can he do it?
Oh, BRIJESKI had the whole shot, but looks like the clutch was a bit tight, put too much power down too soon, spun the tyres. FABIETTI runs away with a 4.18. He's going to the final to race up against Peter KAPIRIS.
Absolutely. Probably a little bit conservative there from Maurice FABIETTI as we see Dene BRIJESKI leave the line. Well, it didn't even shake the tyres. It just went straight up into tyre smoke. Too much wheel speed, and that was all she wrote. Maurice FABIETTI drives off into the distance.
Well, Maurice, for me, probably the drive of the meeting so far. Right-hand lane, you fought your way into the final. Not only that, only 0.02 of a second slower than Peter KAPIRIS. We've got a race on our hands.
Yeah, we sure have. The right lane wasn't quite as bad as I thought it was. We stepped it up a little bit, and it held it quite good. So it's kind of surprised that it went a 16.
It's starting to cool off a little, but it's still going to be quite warm out there. You go out with a similar tune-up, or you just try and edge it that little bit?
Why, you're going to tell Peter? No, we'll stay conservative. I'm always a conservative guy, We proved it the last one, you've got to be there to win it, so we'll just stay conservative. We'll stay where we are and see if we can put a light on Peter and see how we go.
Peter, 2 meetings, 2 finals at home. The crowd of your supporters is here. You still got that huge smile on your face.
That's pretty cool, mate. I'm roping we're in the final. It's stinking hot out there, but it's just good to be in the final, yeah. It's always good to be in the final.
We've got a race on our hands, though, because Maurice FABIETTI, only 200 slower, and he's over in the right-hand lane. That's where he did it, so he's going to be able to bring it up to you.
Oh, yeah, he will. He'll give it his best, as I will. I mean, he wants to win it just as bad as I do, so, he'll go in there with probably a hard tune-up, as we will. And this tune-up is probably more. The other one was a bit sort of safe, whereas this one is just throw everything at it and hope it hangs on. So that's where we're going with it.
We've also got a few exhibition runs. The guys didn't want to stay in the pits with the Slamfest cars, so Reece Milanovic, Phil Glendenning, they can't go to the semi-final. They can't get points. They can't get money. They don't care. They just want to put on a show for the crowd.
That's exactly right, and bragging rights is what it's all about. Milanovic gets out of line. A very nice run for him. He rolls it through the finish line. Glendenning had problems off the line, but Milanovic goes a 4.32. Definitely moving in the right direction there.
Oh, he's just getting more and more comfortable in that 69 Mustang, and there is nothing like track time. So the opportunity to come down and put a few exhibition passes on for these guys, it helps them all. Tony De Felice, he's been battling an issue with this car, just getting a little bit of tyre shake. And while Frank Lamone, he's just been battling this car.
That is an angry, angry car.
Frank, what's this 10.5-inch thing all about?
Rob, what this 10.5 is, it's all about the size of the tyre. As you probably know, you see that these pro modified cars that they got here, they're running a big 33 by 17-inch tyre, whatever. I'm sure that's what it is. What I'm trying to run is a 33-inch by 10.5-inch tyre, which is probably close to nearly half of the size of what they're running. And all it is about is just trying to hook up with the smaller tyre, just a bit more, how do I say, it's a little bit more harder for me to try to do what they do. They've got the more advantages is they've got a bigger tyre, they've got a bit more footprint on the ground than what I have. It all comes down to more or less tuning there with us. That's what it is, but it's a bit more fun.
Well, 10.5-inch tyre is a huge class in the United States with the ADRL, and they not only run these slammer type cars, but they run nitrous cars, turbo cars, you name it, 700 cube pro stockers, all trying to hook up on 10.5 inches. And Frank's trying to do that as well. Oh, onto the centre line is De Felice. Oh, he's got the wall in qualifying and the centre line in exhibition runs, so not having a great run.
Absolutely, he did the wise thing. He buttoned off the throttle and rolls it through there. Did not record a representative time, but we move on to the next pair now. Matty Abel over in the left-hand lane up against Dale Clothier in the FE Holden.
Whole shot advantage to Abel. Oh, 434 looked lazy, 282 mile an hour. Did it easy. Dale Clothier still sneaking up on it with a 525.
Yeah, you see here, Matt Abel gets off the line quite nicely. Gets to about half track and looks like it buzzes the tyres. And very close to the centre line right at the finish. And wisely pops the chutes and buttons off.
After the break, we have got more Pro FX action. And of course, the big final in Slamfest. Welcome back. We've got the Slamfest final coming up, but before then, more Pro FX action. And of course, that amazing rotary of George Graham. George, you're now leaning against what's the world's fastest rotor.
Yeah, I am. It's Pack Performance Mazda 6. We run a 658 in it, 208 mile an hour in Sydney. And we come up here to Calder to see if we can run just as fast, if not faster. And it's looking like the track's got the potential, and I think we might do it as the weather cools off a touch.
This car's the culmination of years of work, isn't it, to get to this stage of a world record performance?
Yeah, it's an endless amount of work, really. It's a passion from myself and my brothers and our crew, and it's really nothing money can buy, to be honest. It's just the passion that we all have for the rotary racing and our whole rotary engine development and all the rest of the stuff we do.
The whole idea of a rotary with a turbocharger, I mean, the concept of it, where's the limit? There really isn't one, is there?
Well, to be honest, Rocky and myself thought there was a limit around about 6 years ago. We probably a very high 7-second pass and, maybe 350, 380 horsepower per rotor. We thought that was the limit, but, we're making up to 500 horsepower per rotor now, and, the limit is who knows where, we would like to make it around about 600, 620 per rotor, and then and it still probably wouldn't be the limit. It just means we're going to have to start using some better parts and really rethinking some of the stuff. But although we haven't bumped into the limit just yet, a rotary is very fragile if you're doing things wrong, so you got to be really careful, and then you get to where we are and as reliable as we are.
Well, Tony, when you got all that horsepower up the front, huge slicks and a lot of traction down the back, I guess it always finds a weak link somewhere.
Rob, let me tell you, there's nothing wrong with Calder Park start line. It just destroyed our gearbox. I tell you what, as a team, we're bitterly disappointed that we can't fix the car and keep running today.
Well, these gearboxes are nearly all titanium. What can go wrong?
Mate, the whole gearbox basically is titanium except two parts. The part that failed down here in the car, which is this snap ring, which is made out of aluminium and is supposed to look like this, and the actual magnesium case, which isn't supposed to have this massive hole in the side of it. So, yeah, we've got the parts to fix it, except we don't have a spare case, which means that doesn't mean we're running.
So not too many points for the Toyota Orion, but I guess the Toyota engine worked all right. It's this aftermarket bit that broke.
Mate, it's this racing transmission that's indestructible that's let down. The little Toyota motor made plenty of power.
That explains why we haven't seen Tony Wedlock on track. Now we see George Graham on his solo pass. Triple rotor, 500 horsepower per rotor. That's easy maths, 1,500 horses.
That is a lot of horsepower. Very, very late on the shoots there. 682. That is not the quickest and fastest that he has gone by any stretch of the imagination. That car's gone into the 650s. That's what he will be shooting for. But we move on now. Zoran Gajic in the Gas Motorsport BMW.
This car's been a revelation into the 6-second zone in the first round.
Yeah, Anthony Rodriguez, not a racer who has seen a lot of track time over the past few years, but it has not got in his way. He has got a bunch of experience in these cars, and he will be looking to lay down a solid number here.
It just seems to be that the performance levels of these cars is getting quicker and quicker every outing, and their reliability seems to be getting far, far better.
Well, Gajic just flickers the top beams there. And, well, Anthony Rodriguez leaves the cherry hanging on the tree. Was that as a result of Zoran Gajic's indiscretion in stage?
Well, 0.3 red light. He ends up with a 792. You probably take the 0.3 off that. But another good pass by Gajic.
And got very, very loose in the braking area as well, as we see the next Gas Motorsports car coming out. That's Joe Signorelli. This is another car that has gone into the 650s at over 220 miles per hour.
Yeah, it absolutely is a beautiful thing. And what I like about Pro FX is we've got these turbocharged 6s, we've got the turbocharged triple rotors. Performance-wise, they match up pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got the parity of the two classes just about right as far as the weight and the power between the two combinations. So hopefully we're going to see a good race here. We have seen a great outing so far for the Pro FX guys, and hopefully we're going to see the same sort of thing here between Chris Dalton and Joe Signorelli.
on the start line, you just hear them spool them up and the way they just launch. Really exciting race cars over a quarter mile. 671, almost 340 kilometres an hour for Signorelli. Dalton not as quite as quick, but what a great pass for the Gas Motorsport team.
Absolutely, they're really on top of it here as we have a look at round 2 results here. Joe Signorelli in 1 by quite a margin, 671. George Rahane in 2 with a 682. Gadget, Dalton and Anthony Rodriguez rounding out the field in number 5.
Well, this is it, the big one. We are talking Slamfest final for the Doorslammers. There is Maurice Fabietti in the Holden Trade Club Monaro. That is the office to Maurice.
And it surprises me how calm he looks in the car as we see Peter Kapiris getting all sorts of out of shape in the burnout. He just looks so calm behind the steering wheel. He's done a lot of laps, Maurice Fabietti.
I'm not sure how much is calm and how much is focus, because he is very, very intent on trying to pick up the win here. Of course, Peter Kapiris won the November event here at Calder Park Raceway. This is round 1 of the 2011 points series for Slamfest. So, one of these guys is going to go to the next event at Portland, heading the championship, and each one wants to have their name on top of the table. Peter Kapiris for Kapiris Brothers Racing, and he is absolutely looking to try and do back-to-back wins.
Absolutely, and still a fairly new car. He's still trying to sort this combination out. It has not realised its full potential by any stretch of the imagination. He's over there in the preferred left lane, or it was preferred earlier on in racing. Maurice Fabietti in the right. Look at those eyes. He's got his race face on.
Concentration is total. Visor comes down. Concentration will be on the tree. Pre-stage bulb is out for Fabietti. Good final, but it goes to Kapiris. A 4:16 beats a 4:24, despite a small hole shot to Maurice Fabietti, but a good final in Slamfest.
Absolutely, both drivers had to give the car a pedal before half track, but Peter Kapiris just gets his nose in front. He did a better job of getting the car to the finish line, and that was all she wrote. It was close, but Kapiris gets the win. You see right there, got off the throttle, back on it very quickly, and goes through for the win.
Well, Peter, 2 from 2 in Melbourne. How good is this?
Oh, it's good, mate. Like, winning here is like unbelievable, eh? I've got so many fans, so many people support me. Being a local boy, it's just fantastic. It is fantastic.
Maurice put it to you on the start line. He got a little hole shot, but a lot better leave for this one. The Saratoga really got off the 60-foot really well.
Yeah, it 60-footed really well. It sort of got loose half track. I sort of had to pedal it, but I wasn't getting off it for nothing. So, no, it's good. The boys told me I'm going to tweak it right up. We're trying to get a real good number. We're probably half an hour too early for that tune-up, but it was fantastic.
Well, how does this sound? 2011 Slamfest Championship leader at this point, with Portland a couple of weeks away.
Yeah, fantastic. That's where you want to be, eh?
Well, Maurice, oh so close, but no cigar, but I guess still a good weekend for the Holden Trade Club team.
Mate, just fantastic. Look, I was born in Victoria, so at the end of it, it is our hometown. Running Peter in the final, I was Peter's crew chief back in the early 90s. He was the best man at Mary and I's wedding. To run Peter was just fantastic, and if I was going to lose, how could you lose to someone as good as Peter Kapiris,
So fantastic, but it would have been even more fantastic to beat him.
Oh, yeah, but look, mate, we just love doing it, It's not about us winning or losing. It's about putting on a show for the crowd, and that's what we're here for this weekend, to entertain the crowd.
And I guess now it's onwards and upwards. Slamfest on to Portland. You're not going to be far behind in the points, and a whole new day.
That's right. Look, Portland's 2 weeks away. It'll be a good track. Hopefully it's a little bit cooler so we can really get after it. And we've proved this weekend there's been some good close racing, so Portland's only going to be better.
Well, here it is, leading the series. Peter Kapiris on 90 points ahead of Maurice Fabietti. BRIJESKI's in third with his semi-final win and the bonus points for lower laps time and high speed. Then it's Mr. Abel, Blake, Bray, Milenovic, Victor Bray and Lovering. So the 2011 Slamfest Series is underway with this fantastic event at Calder Park Raceway, the True Blue Australia Day race meeting. We move on to Portland, and of course all the action will be right here. Thanks for joining us. See you again next time.